Alright, hey traders, in this video I'm going to be focusing on silver and gold. I'm going to be giving you a technical analysis update. I'm going to be sharing with you the weekly charts, the daily charts, the big picture. I'm going to be doing some trend line analysis as well too, just getting a bit of an update on what's going on right now with gold and also silver as well too. And some key levels we should be focusing on. Let's get straight into it. Don't place a trade based on what you'll see in this video because there is no guarantees of making a profit in the market. It takes you a long time to become a good trader. So this video here is just to educate you to become a much better trader. Righty traders, let's get straight into it. I am running a 50% off my 12-month coaching private weekly coaching program. If you're interested in that, very first link in the description, click on that and you'll be able to check it all out. 50% off. Moving over now, let's actually start with the good old gold in the market. Now, let's have a look at it. Firstly, let's actually start the let's actually have a look at the weekly chart. Man, I can't talk right now. So, what we can see here on this weekly chart is the first thing that we can see is that we are in a clear upward trend. And I always, you know the whole analogy, the whole trend is your friend analogy, you know the trend is your friend until the end. I also say don't fight the market. Well, that's the weekly chart for me. Yes, we can have some short-term pullbacks within the markets, but if that weekly chart is in a big booming bull market, then it's important not to fight that weekly trend. So if we have it, let's actually do some simple trend analysis when it comes to gold. And if you were just if you're willing to just to flip a coin to say where this market's likely to go, then that wouldn't be good, right? But we can use some simple trend analysis. I can then let's have a look at what's going on here. So we can see that we have a low point down here and we have a high. Then we have a higher low. And notice this here, right? Notice how we actually had this high point here, this lower high. And notice how when we started the break above here, that was the change in trend. We've got this higher low. So notice the buys are starting to come back in here. It's a fantastic thing, guys, when we start to really analyze what the market's doing. So we come up here, we ran up, made a high. Then we made a higher low, beautiful higher low, ran up, made a high, and then we see we made an equal low, but we did not break the low, did we? No. So this is where it's really important to understand with the weekly charts. Always keep an eye on the weekly charts, because here's the thing. For me, I want to be jumping on something that's going to give me one, a probability of it making a profitable trade or profitable investment. And two, I want the best chance of it actually having a big profit compared to my loss. Now, that's not always going to be the case, but I'm trying to stack everything on top of each other to try to give me the best chance of it happening. So one, I'm looking for high probability. High probability, the first thing that give you a high probability is what? Looking at the weekly charts. So that's number one. Now, high probability, that simply means you get into the market and it may take a while for that investment to pan out, but there's a high probability. There's a high probability for me, like getting in the gold right now, there's a high probability over the next 12 months, my investment is going to pay off, and double thumbs up for this guy and on to the next trade or investment. So that's the one. And two, I'm looking to, I want to have a probability of having as much as possible, whether it's a trade or an investment, because there are two different things, to where I can be, where my profit has a high probability of being a big profit. I'm going to use these dollar signs as a big profit. This is my reward, and this is my risk over here, risk. Good old drawing. Risk. I'm trying to risk as small as possible while having an upside as big as possible. One of the reasons why I love trading options so much, and I don't always use options, sometimes, like for example, I'm in a few stocks right now where I've actually just bought the stock. So I don't always use options. But one thing I love about options is that when I'm trading the markets like this, the maximum risk I'm having in the markets at any given one time is 100%. Is 100%. This is one thing I love about options. But if I buy, say, a 1 or 2 year option, say for example I bought a 2-year option with gold, and say for example gold did nothing for 6 months, but I had a 2-year option. Well, let's just say for example over the next 2-3 months, it actually started a big, massive bull market, and this thing went to 4,000. Well, my maximum risk is 100%, which which if I ever do get out of a position like that, I'm probably, my loss is probably going to be maybe 50, 60, maybe 70%. This is on a long-term investing type of position, right? But the best thing is that if the market really takes off, I can make 3, 4, 500%. One of my best, most successful trades this year, it was my most successful trade, is that I got into a trade, I was in it for 2 months, and I got out of it over 1,000% return. See, if my maximum risk is 100% of my investment, and I've got, say, 5% of my account in there, and that's my maximum risk, or even say 2%, right? If 2% of my account is in one position, and that's my maximum risk, but there's probably a good probability of this thing making a big move over the next 6, 12 months, and then this thing picks up to 1,000% return. Well, guess what? I've now, my risk was 1,000%, and then my reward was now what? 20%. See how that works? So I'm risking 2% to make 20% of my account. Now that's not always the case. You're not always going to get 1,000%. Sometimes you're going to get 2,000 or 3,000% return. So, and so I hope you can see, guys, I really want to emphasize that as much as possible. And to get for me to try to get a high probability like this, or even a 500% return, or even a 300 or 400% return, where I can do a 3 to 4 times my reward to say my risk. If my maximum risk is 100%, once again, guys, if I'm trading options and my maximum risk is 100%, because the maximum risk is what you put in there, that's not always the maximum risk. I can generally get out about a 60 or 70% return, but I'm always trying to position myself where I can have a 3, 4, 5 times profit compared to my risk. Make sense? So and within that, that's the reason why trading with that weekly chart is always, always, always very, 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 very powerful. And so we have a high up here. We haven't created a higher low yet, so we still could be going down through here. But even if we do get a bit of a flush down, and someone said on my video yesterday that they said, I disagree with this guy. I did a video on gold yesterday. I was like, I disagree with this guy. I'm a contrarian. I'm going to use this guy as a contrarian indicator, and I think we're going to get a flush down first before I see a move up. You know what, guys? And we may see that. But the big thing for here is that I don't know whether it's going to break up and out. We're going to start to see a move up right now, or we're going to start to see a bit of a pullback. But even if we've got a pullback, say, to even 1,700, are we still in an overall big bull market? And the answer is yes. Why? Because we're still creating these higher lows. Even if we got a pullback to say 1,700, or we still could be creating a bit of a higher low before we start to see another maybe 3, 4, 5 month bull run, but we're still in an overall big bull market. So trying to short the market now would be risky, because you don't know whether we're going to get a flush down, or we're going to start to see a big an uptick in the market right now. We're going to start to see a big move. But the probability is we're going to see an up move soon. So that's what I'm seeing through there. And if we do start to see a bit of a flush down, let me bring on my good old trend lines through here. And let me just delete that. I don't need that anymore. Firstly, I can see the first thing that I can see. What is that? What is that line there for? I'm not sure. That's interesting. So the first line that I can see is that we've got this sort of major support line through here. So if we ever did get a flush down, that sort of 1,700 level is going to be major support. But I do see that this sort of 1,800 level is a major support on this weekly chart. And also, let me go to the daily charts now. See, this is where, guys, the daily charts, see this whole pullback here on the daily charts? You may be focusing this on the daily charts. Look at this big down pullback since August. But this weekly chart saying, hey, this is just a nice, healthy pullback in a big bull market before we go for another big run again. And once again, I'd rather be on the side of the big ocean instead of trying to swim against it. And I also can see that there's probably a support and resistance line coming on down through here somewhere, I would say. So somewhere through there was also, you can see how I'm collecting it through there, and then, so if we do get a bit of a flush down, this whole 1,800 level is a major, major, major significant support level. Going back to that weekly chart, you can see that whole 1,800 level is indeed this level back here as well too. So significant support. So we may get a flush down. If we do, it's probably a high probability we're going to start to see that as well. So I'm actually in gold myself, guys, right now with an investing opportunity. So I'm very, very, very bullish long term overall when it comes to gold, that is. So we're probably likely to get a bit of a flush down first to get people freaked out. Moving over now through to silver, and let's actually do the exact same thing with silver. What's happening with silver right now? Firstly, you can see silver didn't do much for a long time. And then we ran up, and then we made this high. Now, what we're looking for is looking for the market to make some sort of a higher low here soon. So it's going to be really interesting. If we can start to hold here, especially now, this is a long term, this is over a big macro sort of view, guys. If we can hold here and start to pick back up again and start to break above 30, that's going to be a significant reference point in the markets to say we're now starting a very, very, very big bull market. I believe we've already started it with this leg up, and people are freaking out because they're so impatient because they've seen this move down. It's like, come on, guys, settle down. All right. It's just a nice, healthy pullback in the bull market. So if we can start to see that and get above 30, then I see probably even that would be the key indication for me that we're now likely to start to see a move up to 50, but not straight away. All right, not straight away. Whenever I say that in a video, it's like, oh, we're probably likely to get to 50. People think it's going to do that. That never happened to the market, so stop doing that. And if you're listening to YouTube videos that say that's going to happen, run like the plague. Okay, run like the plague. So moving over now through, or if I bring up my sort of good old support and resistance lines, you can see even if we did get a bit of a drop down towards the 2220 level, that's still a significant support level that I believe silver is going to hold. And then we're likely to start to see a big move in silver. So silver is where we are right now. I do see that we're probably likely to start to see a very, very nice move in silver coming real soon. So that's a bit of an update there, guys, on silver and gold. I would not want to be fighting this upward movement at all. So I hope you enjoyed this.